Hi, welcome to the Inner Voice Path. This is Riva Jazz, and today we are initiating a series of videos that I'm going to make them available so you can consult on any subject, discussion, and other queries that I sometimes receive during my coaching and mentoring sessions. So I am going to talk about today putting myself out there. Once again, I've been quite away from the visual aspect. I've not been doing any videos recently, or actually for quite some time. And I've been wondering why this was. Even though I am a therapist, I'm a coach, I also have to do the shadow work. And this is part of my shadow work. Being upfront with you is something that I'm not scared of. However, coming every day, it is something not about being scared. It just frustrates me a lot because even though I have quite a lot of ideas, sometimes having so much, it causes the part of me to not being focused. So, having said that, address the elephant in the room. We are going to talk about a few things. I'm not going to put a theme today because I really wanted to come by and say, look, I've not been around. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's just simply how things are. I still have a lot of things to go through in life. Nothing that puts me off. It's just simply, as I said, I get frustrated quite a bit. I do have anxiety issues as well, and therefore I can relate to most of you on the internet. So, how come I am initiating this video and saying all of these things when I'm not delivering, for example, content for you about what do I do? True. Um, I'm a person the same way that you are on the other side of the screen. I do have a sense of responsibility for any moment that I deliver a session to a moment that I come here and talk to you with a video. And this is what I tell you during any time is that everything that I say has a meaning and a purpose behind it. So don't feel scared that because I am full front, I am not reliable or anything else. It's on the contrary, because I am very open, that I come here to also share with you sometimes the struggles that we go through as a person that lodges herself behind the screen in order to talk to you, all of you actually in the world. And this is me being raw and authentic the most as I can be. Who knows, in the future, we have a different setup. I'm not going to over dwell on that thing, but right now, all I wanted to say is that yes, I am back here, and I really want to initiate a video talking about a different variety of things. Uh, One of the thing that I'm going to initiate with is to get us a reading from the elemental oracle, which I have here, and you can see the the box. So this is the elemental oracle, and I'm going to give us a few cards to understand and to actually give the kick on this subject today. So let's see what we are gathering from the collective. And from then on, we are going to talk a little bit about my purpose with the website, with the YouTube channel, with Instagram channels, and all of that. All right. I really want to deal a little bit more deeply into these subjects because of all these years of not having something more structured. And I really want to deal with these because I do struggle a lot, and I have been struggling for the past few years. And who knows what the cards are also going to point out. But let's keep the reading right now close to your heart. Focus in whatever you really want to address. Let's see what the cards are telling us today. What is it that we need to look into? Wow. Okay. So we start very nicely that we really have the first card is the inner core solidity. So the inner core, as you can see here, I'm sure that you can see properly. So two heads or two full heads, actually. One wide awake, the other one not awake. So conscious, subconscious, and inside you have a dove coming out of your I would say the crown chakra, and from the pineal gland, it's coming forward, you're shining through. So actually delivering this as a point of start in my videos, and it shows up how much of light and shine. I don't have any other words to describe this, but I think the card shows it. If you have something inside of you, it wants to come out, and you really want to create a show with that, but a show that actually affects others, impacts others, motivates them, and whatever more. So it is great that it's showing up as the first card, the inner core. It matches a little bit of the intention of how I created this video to begin with. And after that, we have the hearth. The hearth and the sign of a comfort. That's our little word over there. And you have this baby with the dog, and behind it there is this fireplace. It's a comforting home situation that we have here. Sometimes we come from moments of despair, detachment, and we don't see connection, we don't see a trust or moving forward in any direction. So we really want to create an impact with the inner core. Now that we are linking the two cards here, it shows us that this is our intention coming from within. We have something to give and something to look forward in order to be at home, be at peace with ourselves, leading with calmness, being assertive, and feeling trusting, walking in our life by with some positive eyes, some positive reflections of what we've accomplished so far. What is it our actions going to be like? It's like a projection of what you want to put outside, you know, for yourself, for others, either work-wise or not. So this reflects in all areas, since this is a very collective reading. And also we end up with the last card being water. That reflects the creation here. So this is a point of transformation. Water resembles emotions, and from I would say the Asian perspective, not Asian as in just the race, but the case of Oriental medicine, for example, we have in acupuncture from the classics, we dictate the lower abdomen, the pelvic area relates to our emotions, and it processes quite a bit for both male and female. So whenever we have issues in our pelvic area, this is some unresolved and sometimes subconscious levels of traumas or events that happened in our lives, and we want to bring it more consciously in order to move forward. But there is another area here. I really wanted to mention this about the Oriental culture, I would say, because it's showing here from a little bit above the belly down, where this lady is submerging from the deep waters, and she's actually reinventing herself and showing up a new form. So you can live below water, or you can rise above water. I know, redundancy, right? So as you can see here, this is a great beginning of a reading, because we are trying to reinvent ourselves. And sometimes it's not about creating the spectacular boom and a feasts where you need to be in a hotel with a huge amount of people and all sorts of things going on. Sometimes you could be just you, very simple, keeping up by showing up yourself. Your presence is enough. Sometimes it could be, let's say, someone is needing a hand in their house or in their psychology moments, emotionally. They want someone to be there with them and to be listened to and to be taken care of and feeling existential, meaning that they have a purpose. People take care of them, and they are cared for. People think about them, basically. And so this example leads you to feel sometimes thinking on someone else. Something just popped in and you came to a moment of reflection of someone or a few people. So give them a call, just say that you're thinking about them, and it is very important that you are going to be there to be present, and whenever they need, if there's anything else that what's going on in their lives, you just pop in and show up. Presence, it's what it means. So connecting all these three cards, we have the intention in order to create this trust and feeling at home, feeling ourselves, feeling authentic and showing up as genuine. And recreating, reinventing ourselves is not just about being, how do we say, we are just who we are and nothing else happens. So when you want to show up into a friend's house, for example, unexpected, and you would think initially, I wouldn't do this very often, or at least I wouldn't do that in recent years. But reinventing myself nowadays, it could be just that simple action. Otherwise, you would feel like, no, that's something that I won't do, even though it came into my mind or something like that. No, I'm not going to pursue it forward. So that's not about reinventing yourself. That's about ignoring a part of you that is talking to you, that perhaps is just a different approach to relating to people. So yeah, these are good examples where you can manifest your creation to be different out there in your initiatives and to feel more trusting with yourself and into others, because the trust that I'm talking about here, the comfort of who we are, is about connection with our intuition. And that intuition comes in a very small doses of very soft voice, sometimes very so low that sometimes we don't know exactly if it is intuition or not. But that is the big difference, because the ego voice is so loud and is trying to ignore us or to put ourselves into a different dimension, like, no, you're not worthy. But it's very loud in comparison to the intuition voice. So even if you are to think about a moment where you felt at home and you felt so great, you are listening to that part of yourself, which is the intuition. You're feeling, yeah, I am good where I am right now. And you even talk like this because it feels so good in your heart. That's why heart is the warmth in your heart, in your home, in your central chakra, which is the heart. And again, intuition is all over this card. So this is about also creating here a link of three main chakras. I would say that the creation is the root chakra, where you can emerge through the heart and the crown chakra. As you can see here, there is a big light, and actually imagine that this card, it is the big light shining through or coming forward. So I would say this is the how, your intention and your heart is leading the way in order to come forward and come out of the water and show yourself. As you can see here, this is a very interesting theme, because for me, even when I really want to deliver a video and I think, oh, what am I going to show up today and talk about? What is it that I'm going to tell you? Because for me, every subject is interlinked. I would start from the beginning, which is whenever I have a client coming up for a coaching session in the beginning, one of the interesting points that I talk about is their history, their personal history, being the ancestors or just how was the person's life throughout the childhood up until now, and what is it that they really want to accomplish. So that's a part of us to kickstart our sessions, and how I can see how the potential of the sessions could be, the energies that need to be worked on, and the patterns that we can discuss and improve in order to shift them or transmute them into different ones, and therefore alleviate the karma effects in someone's personal life. So by having this beginning of connection with the person, of course, that is my common theme. There's nothing else that I could say here. So even if I say, look, let's take these cards as an example, I just brought them to you and I shift them and then I draw them and I talk to you about them. So it's this process that I do in every single client. Of course, each client will present themselves with different problems, different issues, patterns. The way I see it is like there is this beautiful human being coming forward in sacredness by confessing or by allowing themselves to exist in vulnerability, like in a full surrender of themselves. And with that, creates a moment for integration and knowing each other, to have a period of asking questions and see how both energies connect. And for me, it's a beautiful energy moment where I am connecting with another person's hearts. What is the level of trust, of the level of belief systems that we carry? And we can be so much organized by being so different from each other. And it's very hard to put it in a specific way of, okay, this is how it starts, it goes through that, and then this. Not exactly. There is that process, yes, but I have to work always, always with the present moment of that person. So for me, I would say that the very kickstart moment is to understand how is this person feeling, thinking, and what sort of values is she believing and putting into practice. So that is the very foundation of my work as in coaching and mentoring. Why do I say coaching and mentoring? And I've never mentioned mentoring before. Because I came to realize that sometimes I will not just create ways to give you back, as in mirroring back to you or giving to you what is it that is my perception of you, or at least how you are being perceived on this end, and asking questions in ways that you could potentially understand it in order to, okay, maybe I need to think this through very differently just by your own. It's like the saying that we have, like, I'm going to teach you how to fish instead of giving you the fish directly. The other one is mentoring, that I realized that I also put parts of myself showing you actions that could potentially give you great results if you try them out by yourself and then infuse them here and there, not every day. I'm not going to force yourself into do things. That is coming ultimately from your decision and your decision only. um, However, these things, the positive and constructive feedback of your perceptions, or at least how you are being perceived, plus the actions or suggestions for immediate actions that you can take, are some of the key ingredients that you can take from the sessions, and you can also benefit greatly in all areas of your life. And this is also applicable to the businesses. So let's say, for example, a company has it has worked out what is their mission statement, what are the values, and then you can relate to, maybe they are already 5+ years in the market and they have developed quite a bit, the clientele, the processes, etc. But somehow the CEO and some of the company workers are telling the CEO that something is not adding up, something needs a change, or things are not feeling, the sentiments in the work environment has shifted slightly in the last few months. I would say that sometimes it is the similar way that I do the coaching sessions or the mentoring sessions. It is a time for not just brainstorming that comes along the way, but it is time for us to meet and understand what is it that in the foundation, some of the practices no longer fit. So we have to look in ways where we can represent each belief system of everyone working for the company, understanding the core values, the mission statement, and the niche, the whole scenario, to understand if there is something else that needs shifting. Perhaps the whole company, I mean, people in general are feeling different because their lives have changed as well, and therefore created a different version in creating their own reality. And when they interact with each other in the company, they create different aspects in the other people's lives as well. And therefore, it spirals up. And this is what people don't realize, that we create different realities every day, every life. And therefore, it is also, I'm just shifting a little bit the subject here, but it is interesting how this can also create a result of when you have someone asking you, how do you see yourself in 5 years, when you're in a job interview and you're thinking like, wow, this question needs to be declined, because we honestly, globally, and when I talk about all these things, that whatever subject that I may deliver in the future or now, I like to speak about in the collective, because we have to think about others. There is not just about the subject of money and earning and how am I going to survive in the next year and how am I going to produce X amount of dollars, euros, whatever currency it is of my company in order to sustain myself here and to stay alive. I believe that the collective needs to look into a different perspective. So, business wise, it is very important to have coaching and mentoring here and there, because people shift their perspectives. This is the main goal of the conversation today. We shift, and we also rock shift other places. Let me give you a different example. Let's say if the earth shakes off, people will tend to think in the region that got affected, perhaps structures they need to be built differently, taking into account the earthquakes or something else, right? You've seen this all over the world, and it's still ongoing because we have more minds and we are developing ourselves into connect the dots from what it was once, what can we add, what we can change on what we have added, and what can we add more, and how can we revisit from since creation and what we have added. And it's every day, it's a constant of we start from a point in the past and we try to getting it better over time. So we are doing the same with ourselves. When someone's person has been rocked, maybe they lost someone that was really dear, and that cascades into a depression, for example. The self-worth goes really down and stumbles down in their own ways of thinking. Then we need to look into a lot of foundation issues, because most of the person is rock bottom. The same happens in companies, that sometimes the foundation was there in the beginning, people start to think in a different direction, and then it needs only one to shift. And now the example that I wanted to give here, it was not just the earthquake and all of that. It is about, if I am coming and showing up to work in a very current, how to say, in a more routinely way, every day I do the same actions. I know that I need to get up, I shower, I dress, I wash my teeth, all of that. I get out, I go to traffic, I show up here at work, I say hello to my colleagues. The day can be stressful or can be quiet. Sometimes it's just too stressful. And I come back from work, I do my dinner, I relax a little bit or not, and I go to sleep, and that's basically it. Not to mention that the person may have family or not in their surroundings. So just a simple person with this sort of routine, what would you say if that impact of maybe someone else dying, or I don't know, a shift in their house created an impact that financially it took the the complete blowout in the person's pockets, and she doesn't see how is she going to pay off whatever debts that she had, even the rent and other bills? How do you think her mind, her state of mind, is going to be at work? And does she have enough support at work in order to accomplish their daily tasks, their daily job responsibilities? Do you think that perhaps a man or a woman is at cause, or that none of that matter whatsoever? This is a good shadow work for you companies to do, for example. Because why, again, am I saying this example? Because the person can shift other people's conscious awareness of their actions, processes, business modules, and overtaking the sense of what is it that I am going to do from now on in order to also embrace if this situation occurs in the near future. Now, I know this conversation is too extended to an extreme where we are not going to get any results, of course, because this is just for the purpose of you engaging on certain questions that you can ask yourselves, being at work or simply being an individual that has their own uh, job or their own business, where you can think of ways that sometimes show up in your mind, but you don't really think about it so much. But these create impactful actions in your life and others. So, this could be a very tough conversation that we can discuss in coaching and mentoring sessions. So feel free to look into the link in the bio if you really want to, or you're serious into looking into different results and how you can perhaps establish a different way or direction of your company or in your life. These are definitely worth touching base with. And the other one would be to give a different example in a more energetic way. Have you heard about the expression of when you see someone and suddenly you feel like, wow, there's something about him or her that you feel, wow, she's different. I like the vibe. And there are others where you feel like, I don't know if I want to be there because I sense this and that energy in the environment or coming from that end or that person. So this is your intuition telling you that energetically there are positive and negative effects in the room, and they always relate to you. It's not necessarily that person. But let me tell you the other side of the story. It's because the other person has shifted their perception, their reality, maybe their emotional and maturity aspect is so up leveled that you like their presence. But it could be the same, causing you frustration and stressful moments of resistance, acceptance. You don't like to accept their presence the way it is, and you judge so much. So when this happens, you see it's the same person, but creating different aspects out of you. That is always, it's your perception and your perception only. It's up to you to realize, do you want to take this as your normal, or do you want to at least learn ways of self acknowledgement or self knowledge to shift areas within yourself so the next time that happens, you are in a positive effect rather than in a negative side. So these are some of the questions where you can start asking yourself, do I want to come into a room and cause shifts in people's perception? Or do I not care and just want to be myself? And one day I will receive negative feedback of someone, and I would be surprised that that is so because I've been following a very different path. And that may also follow a path under the narcissism syndrome, I would say. Not saying that it is narcissism, it's just beginning of the path. Because under narcissism, it's very tough to discuss because the very first thing is there will be denial. But when we are completely surrendering onto who we truly are, and what is it that we are here to manifest, and what is it that I am feeling, what is it that I am experiencing, and then you go deeper and deeper and deeper in those layers of your shadow, your subconscious, you will realize that there were tiny pieces that if you put them together and if you had developed them over the years, you would have been putting yourself lots of labels. And in here is about identifying certain labels, but it's not the one that moves you or that becomes you. No, you have an essence, a diamond inside of you. We want to reach inside of you, moving the dust of everything that is inside of that little heart and polish the diamond. And it's exactly at that point, sorry, that we see the true colors of who you are, of your essence, of your energy. So I really want to thank you for listening today. I hope this made some impactful joy, and I see you soon. Much love.